going on, guys? It is June 4th, and the MMA Junkie Twitter mailbag is back. And so are fights. UFC Fight Night 189 takes place tomorrow night in Las Vegas, also known as UFC Vegas 28 to some of you. It's getting kind of hard to keep track, but I've still got them up here. We'll be on the ground for that one. I won't, but John Morgan and Ken Hathaway will. So stay locked for coverage all weekend long. But before we get to the fights and before I can provide you with any of that coverage, let's jump into the questions that you guys provided me. Really appreciate everyone getting creative and sending in some good topics this week. So diving right into it. Gabe Bench, what should Kayla Harrison do after PFL? Kayla Harrison is on a tear again here in the currently in the PFL. And it bodes the question, what challenges are out there for her? And I think everybody knows the obvious answers. There's Amanda Nunes in the UFC. There's Chris Cyborg in Bellator. So I think Kayla Harrison should do whatever offers her the most money. And originally, if you had asked me this question 3 weeks ago, I would have said Bellator might have been the one that would be more interested. Dana White seemed to kind of brush off her name whenever it was brought up. But hard pivot recently. Dana White was asked about her the most recent time, and he seemed very interested. He seemed like she's somebody that's on the long-term plan, on the trajectory. So to me, I think if Kayla rips through this season, we see her jump from PFL to the UFC, take on Amanda Nunes, major fight. So that's my prediction. Zane Bando asks, hey Nolan, can Miguel Baeza keep his undefeated streak alive this weekend? If so, what does he need to do to get the job done? Always appreciate the support. Appreciate you sending in the questions, Zane, as usual. And it's a great fight, under the radar fight. Miguel Baeza, Santiago Ponzinibio. I think it is a difficult fight for Baeza just because I think he's almost like a less evolved but higher potential ceiling version of Santiago Ponzinibio. I think there's going to be a lot of technical striking, and I think he's just going to stay patient. You know, he can't get overzealous. He can't get into a gunslinging match. I do favor Santiago Ponzinibio, but if Baeza lands, I mean, we saw in the last fight, Ponzinibio can be knocked out, so should be interesting. Kind of the old school versus the new school. I'm intrigued. Next question, who should Kevin Lee fight if he manages to get past Sean Brady? Does he fit into the welterweight division? I don't know if the timing would line up on this one. If Kevin Lee comes in and he beats a guy like Brady, who I think is a rising star, who I think's got great wrestling, he's certainly on his way to becoming a title contender. If he comes into this division and puts it on him, I think it sets him up for something big. Now, where does it land him in the rankings? Where does it land him in top 10? How do you fit somebody that has a one-fight winning streak at welterweight in that division? And to me, I think you can reward him with the major fight, with the piece of the puzzle that also we really don't know what to do with, and that's Khamzat Chimaev. Seems like he's going to be back here in the States, according to some reports. He's going to be back this summer, training, preparing, looking for a fight this year. So to me, I kind of like the idea of Kevin Lee versus Khamzat. I think they both have good, decent wrestling. They can probably have some good back and forth, and then you can also figure out where they stand in the division. So that's the fight I would make. With the heavyweight title fight yet to be officially announced and Jones signing with Big Time Management, could we still see Jones versus Francis in August? And as much as I would like to see that fight, I have to give you a resounding no, John. I think that Lewis versus Ngannou is pretty much set, signed, sealed, delivered. August pay-per-view. I mean, Dana's talking about going to Houston in August. Pretty obvious they want the Black Beast to fight at home after the pop he got a few weeks ago. So at UFC 252. So, I don't think the manager, I don't think that Jones's new advising team really is gonna make the UFC, take a full pivot. Probably have to wait, fight the winner of Francis versus Lewis, and even with that, that's a big if. Hearing any Aljo update? Is Jan gonna wait? I haven't heard anything about Aljo. Last I heard that he had surgery. He's trying to get over that, and as for Jan, I think Jan's going to wait. It wouldn't make much sense for him to fight anybody else. I mean, you have Corey and TJ fighting. You have Rob Font, who just got a big win over Cody Garbrandt. But to me, that's the fight to make. No matter how long you wait, it makes sense. As long as Aljo's not going to be out for 2 years or something, as long as there doesn't need to be an interim title or somebody getting stripped, put in place, Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan should be the next fight. And I think that should do it for the mailbag this week, guys. Really appreciate everyone that sent in questions. You guys have been very supportive throughout this whole process. Like I said at the beginning of the video, tune into MMA Junkie's coverage of UFC Fight Night 189. Keep it locked, guys. Appreciate it.